Hi everyone. So, seeing as most of us are snowed in, I thought I'd make a quick short video just covering very briefly everything that we went through today. So, start off, I'm going to quickly change screen and hopefully you'll see this into the slides. So, week 3 purchases. So I will send you a copy of these slides if this doesn't work, so don't worry. But basically what we're going to go through today was how you process a purchase bill and the reasons why you wouldn't process other purchases in the same way. And we'll cover how you do those in future weeks because it's quite hard to do in a video like this. So, a purchase bill. So if the purchase was made on credit terms, and by that I mean you had the goods or the services and you received an invoice that you paid at a later date. So that might be a day after, a week after, a month after, 60 days after the bill date, I don't know, but you got it after. That's when you would use a purchase bill. Now, Xero calls supplier invoices purchase bills. So if you hear me talking about a purchase bill, I'm talking about those invoices you get from your suppliers. Other types of expense we might get are what we call in Xero spend money transactions. Now, those are business expenses that you've paid for with business money, so either from the current account or from a petty cash tin, but that you've paid for instantly. You haven't had them on credit terms. So you could have been down to the shop and bought some milk with a £5 from the petty cash tin, or you may have ordered something off the internet using the debit card for the business. Either way, you didn't have that on credit terms, you paid for it straight away. So we don't use purchase bills to record those types of transactions. The exception to the rule, and there always is one, is if you have spent money instantly for a business expense, but you paid from it from your own pocket, so it came out of your own personal funds, and you bought it, paid for it on behalf of the business. So that, although is not a purchase bill, we can, what I refer to as hack the system and use the purchase bills area to do that. The third and final type of transaction that we have is called a prepayment. So that is where we have paid for something before we've had the goods or services. Now, an example I like to use for this one is an energy bill. So for an energy bill, you will quite often pay a monthly direct debit for the same amount every single month to your energy provider. And then once a quarter or once every 6 months, you will get a bill from them for the exact amount of energy you have actually used. So on that bill, quite often you will see that you have made XYZ payments out of the bank by direct debit every month. You have used a certain amount of energy with that value, and so therefore you now either owe them a little bit of money because you've not paid quite enough, or they now have money on credit for you so that when your next bill comes and perhaps you've used a bit more, they'll use that credit. Either way, we would use a prepayment and put the bill on. Again, this is something we will do next week or the week after. I can't do this in a video, it's quite complex, so we're just going to have a look at a purchase bill. So when we do a purchase bill, what we have to do when we process it is we have to tell the software what the bill was for. So was it for some printing and stationery? Was it for a purchase that we've bought something to use in our business? What kind of thing did we buy? So let's go and have a look at how we do that in the software. So hopefully you are now seeing the demo company. So hopefully we are now all seeing my demo company and we can see the shared screen on the recording. I'm just going to move my little thing down here. Right, so we are in the dashboard of the demo company. We are going to go and put on a new bill. Now, like we said about with sales invoices last week, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So from here, there's many ways to get to a new purchase bill. We can quickly go up to the plus button and choose new bill, right there. We can scroll down a little bit, and down here we see the area where we've got bills already, and we can click new bill. or the long way around, but that you can get to from every screen on this blue banner, is we can go to business and bills to pay. Don't see no sales there. I will click on that one. So I'm going to go to a new bill. And I'm going to go to the first bill, which you should all have had either a hard copy or an emailed copy out today. So you'll notice this screen looks really similar to the way you enter a sales invoice. So we are going to go to the from box first. So this is where we enter the name of the contact that we received our bill from. So Lightning Electric Limited. Is the name of our company. So the date field refers to the invoice date. So this invoice I have here, I believe, is our first one, and it's the 1st of November 2018. Now, for me, I like to type dates, so my quickest way is going to be to put 1 for the day of the month, 11 for the numerical version of the month, and then 18 for the year, because remember, Xero will always presume today's date, today's month, today's year. So I'm going to hit tab. Now, I can see from this one that the due date of this bill is the 30th of December. So I'm going to tell it, the 1st of December. And it's like plus 30 days should take me to the 1st. Obviously, I could have clicked on here and I could have clicked and chosen the date from the menu. Reference. So this is where we use this field to record the reference number provided to us by our supplier, usually called an invoice number. So in this case, EL space 154. Total, I'm going to leave this one blank in this case. We don't need to use this one. I only ever put a total in here if I'm struggling to get roundings of pennies correct or getting the VAT to round by a penny quite right. So we can tell Xero what it needs to round to by using that field. But in this case, we're not going to have pennies to round. It's fine. I made it easy for us. We're in Great British Pounds. The next field, just like in a sales invoice, this is tax inclusive or tax exclusive, or no VAT, depending on how we are going to enter our figures down here in the document. So I like to talk about exclusive figures and then have the VAT added on top for me, for tax exclusive. Now, item, I'm going to skip past because this isn't something we've dealt with. This is usually used when we're purchasing stock, and that's not something we're covering in these sessions. Description. So electricity for 1 month. I'm just taking that from the document. Quantity 1, unit price 255. So I'm taking that again from that invoice. Account. So this is where we categorize this expense into our account. So we have to say what we bought this for. Now, obviously, this is electricity. In accounting terms, we quite often refer to that as heat, light, and power. So if I start typing the word heat, light, and power, you can see it narrows down my available options to just the one, heat. If I wasn't sure what to call it for, I could have just clicked on the little drop down arrow, and then you can scroll through all the different types of chart of account codes. I wouldn't recommend adding any new chart of account codes until you're a bit more experienced, because you may add them wrong. And if you do ever want to add one because you think you don't have anything specific, give me a shout first, because quite often it's that we just don't realise that accounting worlds call it something a bit different. So for this case though, heat, light and power, there we go. Tax rate. Now we've got Xero set up to have automatically 5% as the VAT rate for the heat, light and power. However, check your bill if you're doing a utility bill, because sometimes you do get charged 20% if you've gone over a certain wattage allowance. Ignore region, that's something that we're not dealing with in this. So now when we scroll down, we can see we've got £255 here, which is our subtotal on our invoice, so that's right. We've got VAT at 5% of £12.75, again, and matches our invoice, and our total adds up perfectly. Now, if we were halfway through doing this document and we got disturbed by the phone going or whatever, just like we do with a sales invoice, we can save it. Xero will pop it in a drafts list for us to open back up and finish dealing with later. But I know I'm happy with this. It's finished, so I'm going to approve it. So there was your whistle-stop tour of how to process a purchase bill. If you've got any questions this week, give me a shout. I'm here to help. I will try and come back to you as quickly as I can. If you don't get me on the phone, drop me an email and I will respond as soon as I can. Now, practice with your other purchase bills and I will see you next week.